I'm Allie. I came out after 20 years of marriage and I have 3 kids.
I'm Melissa and I have 2 kids and I came out at 37 after an 11-year marriage.
This podcast is about coming out later and the struggles and victories that come with it.
When coming out feels like the end of the world, but it's really just the beginning.
This is the Lesbian Chronicles. Welcome to the Lesbian Chronicles. Welcome, Michelle.
Hey, how's it going, you guys?
Let's have Michelle do the intro.
Oh, yeah.
You want me to do the intro?
Yeah, do it for us.
Hey, welcome to Lesbian Chronicles, everybody. You know your 2 hosts, Allison and Melissa. They're here to bring you anything queer, coming out later in life, and just lifestyle vibes.
Ooh, God, I like that. Oh, that's our new. That'll be our new intro.
Our new intro right there.
And Michelle, you have a podcast too, which is kind of how I found you.
I think that's great. Actually, Melissa and I have been connected like for about a year and a half
I know,
now.
what the hell? I'm late for the party.
I mean, come on.
I mean,
this happens to me all the time. So I reach out to Michelle on DM.
it's true. She literally slid in.
I'm like, I thought I was like bringing someone cool into the fold.
I know everybody.
You know, and you're like, yeah, I'm friends with her. Friends with her. I'm like,
Running list in my head of people like have on the podcast, but most of the time my week gets out of my control, and then I'm like, oh crap, I didn't line any of those people on my list in my head,
Right.
and now it's just us.
right, but that's
So-
okay because sometimes people will do it.
I know. Yes. Yes.
So
No, I mean, I love that you found me. I love that, yes, I have a podcast with my co-host and bestie, River, and it's called Live Out Loud. And really what it's about is empowering women, whether it's it's a queer vibe or whether it's just moms. Women need to be lifting each other up. This is a time where the maternal, the matriarchy is really rising right now through the collective. And it's just
100%.
awesome to provide like this beautiful space for women to live and walk in their authenticity and their authentic truth. And that's really my vibe. I mean, that's like why I post quotes, why I talk about the things we talk about. It's things that resonate or feel really personal to our own journey, much like you guys. You're like, hold on, there's really not a podcast for us later in life lesbians. Like, well, build it, they will come. It's like it's kind of like, a Field of Dreams moment, right? It's like
100%.
because there's podcasts for every single thing out there. It's almost like a trade show these days. It's like anything,
It is.
you can listen to anything. So, I mean, I just value the space, and I've learned so much from podcasts. So I just love being a part of the community.
Yeah.
Likewise.
I agree. I mean, like as I mentioned on every episode lately, like my life has been kind of like all over the place lately. And I feel like podcasts have been like almost like my free therapy through it,
Totally.
and because therapy is really expensive. And it's one thing, like honestly and truly, it will keep me from booking an appointment sometimes,
Right.
because I'm like, I don't want to pay $150 to just essentially just word vomit for an hour and then have like a pep talk for my therapist, so utilizing podcasts is a free therapy.
Well, I think, and what you guys have done, like with that second Friday community as well, right? Or is it first Friday? I can't remember.
Second
Friday.
Friday, yeah.
Second Friday. Okay. I mean, with building a community at wherever you are in life, like, hey, I'm getting like, I fall into a few like, hey, I'm getting a divorce. Who else has gotten divorced? Like, let's build that
Yep.
community. Hey, well, I've been out since I was 19. So it's, I'm old. So it's 30 some odd years that I've been gay. And so it's fun, where but you want to help others build that community. And I think women need community, whether we're moms, whether we're getting divorced, whether we're coming out. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's like professional as well. That's why I've cherished LinkedIn. It's like building these communities in our life is so crucial for you not feeling so alone and for you to be able to bounce. Like, I don't know about you, Melissa, but like I process the best with my besties. Like I need to word vomit and and they sit so patiently. And then I do the same for them, but we can deep dive these
Right.
things our life safely, organically. And there's nothing better than women friendships
I absolutely agree. Like,
when you
I
take the
do
time.
have like a few people that I word vomit to. There's friends that I have on Instagram who have never been met in real life who will sit there and listen to me bitch about what's going on.
Yeah.
So it's just validating.
Oh,
It
for
is.
community is everything, especially in this process that we went through. It was like that was far more important than dating or, I mean, it was just you had to have that crew.
Yeah, and really anytime your relationship ends, even in like the situation that I'm in where it's a positive kind, we're not mad at each other, you know, but it's still like a shakeup in our friend group, you know, like
It's an
things are not gonna be
adjustment.
the same.
Yeah.
So I need those core people still,
Yeah.
you know?
Totally.
It's
And
an
I know you lose some people along the way, but that's okay. That's life, right? Like not everyone is going to love us. I mean, we're not for everybody. And I genuinely have been living that for the last 2 years. It's like, I am not for everybody. And I'm so okay with that. Like,
And it's like some people are just a season. It's like they're here for a season
Totally.
and then it opens up space for something new to come along.
completely.
So I don't think you have to, which kind of brings me to what kind of drew me to you, which was I was listening to the podcast. So then I start doing my deep dive on your,
She Googled you and learned like your home address and
yeah, I did.
Perfect.
Super sleuth. I super
I
sleuth.
love it. I love it.
And I pretty
gonna
much know everything now. So, no, but the post that you had is, which I'm feeling this right now. So this like resonated with me. The energy for May is, if it doesn't click with your intuition, it's not for you. Say no often so you can focus on what you actually want to do. And I think like that hit me because I believe that so firmly, but you're in a culture where everybody's saying, oh, you got to say yes up to everything so that you're included, or so that they ask me again, or so that, you know, I'm going to be left out next time, or I might meet my soulmate tonight. I have to go to this thing. And it's like, I think you're bombarded with that. And then I feel inside the opposite, which is that I protect my time as my most valuable commodity. And I don't want to just throw it around aimlessly, trying to hope one of the things is going to stick. But I think you do have to find a balance. And this made me feel good because I'm like, oh, good, because I do this. But there is a balance. Like you can't just shut everything down, especially when you're not feeling good. Kind of like what you're going through right now. Like you have to make yourself show up.
yeah,
But it's like also, I know when I don't need to be there.
yeah.
Well,
Like,
I mean, on one hand, there's this piece of us, we're moms, right? We like, it's built in us to show up. Like,
yeah,
like that's a non-negotiable, right? Even
right.
when we're going through the crappiest of moments in our life, it's like we have to show up. But in our adult life, with adult friendships, with professional, we do have an opportunity to say no. And I think it really comes back to boundaries and knowing yourself. So if you don't know yourself, how can you say no? Because you're feeling in that lack, you know, in that moment of lack, or like FOMO is hitting you, which
Yeah.
for me,
Scarcity.
I literally have zero now FOMO. Like,
Ooh, how do you do
Yeah,
this?
tell us about that.
Please
Say
tell
more.
me.
Say more.
well, you know, it's one of these things. Okay, so I don't know. I'm going to age myself, but back in the 80s, early 90s, there was a show called Starting Over. I don't know if you guys remember this show where four women moved in. It's like a reality show. Four women moved into a house. Iyanla Van Zant, who is a life coach, like well known under the Oprah umbrella, she said one quote that has stuck to me my whole life, and I'm going to share it with you guys and with your pod community. We don't need, like, you hear all the time, filling your cup. Got to fill your cup. You got to self-love. You got to have meditation. You got to have all these things. It's not about just filling the cup, girls. It's like, it's really about the overflow of that cup, that you are so in an abundant space, meaning emotionally, physically, it's not about monetarily. It's about being so feeling like abundant and happy and joyful that you filled your cup so much that you're doing things daily that you just walk around in this beautiful peace, right? That so that the overflow is where you want to give from. So I have no fear of missing out because I'm so happy in being in my abundance and being in my space. And that if I want to then say yes to something, I show up in my best self because
Because
of
you're
that.
already full.
Because I'm already full. No one needs to fill my cup for me. I'm in charge of filling my cup. And then okay, like you have that friend, you see their name pop up on their phone and you're like, that's a 45-minute conversation.
Yep.
And you say to yourself internally, I'm just going to like decline it for now. But then because of who we are, codependency, how we show like childhood trauma,
All that.
we feel like we have to text that person to tell them why we can't talk to them,
Immediately. Yeah.
as opposed to just letting it go to voicemail and being okay with that.
Right.
If
It's like
it
this
doesn't,
instant.
if you're not giving from that overflow, then you're not even giving like the best of you to that friend who might need you. So it's really important to walk in your overflow, to like make decisions based from that. And if you're not there yet, it's okay to say F off everybody for a
Yeah.
week. I need to be doing what's on my top of my list, my priority, what I'm going to funnel, and what makes sense to me and my kids, period.
Well, two things like I think about when you say that is, one is, how do you, Michelle, not everyone's going to be different. Mine's going to look different than yours, but how
Totally.
do you get the self full so that there is overflow? Like, what's your thing?
Yeah, for me, it's been a journey of out of my divorce after being with my ex-wife for 18 years and coming out of that divorce. 2 years ago, I made a real commitment to me. Like, I'm not going to date. I am going to just deepen my friendships. That has been the biggest soul filling moments of the last 2 years, are the experiences that I have with my friends and staying so present. My grandfather used to say that when we were all in our big group of our family, he used to say, guys, look around. These are your golden moments. So I look at each day like, what's my golden moment for today? You can have like at the dinner table a thorn or a bud or a win and a loss. I just like to like, look at the golden moments. So for me, it's really about looking deep within. It's a lot of walking, it's a lot of hiking, it's a lot of spending time by myself, honestly, and realizing like what genuinely makes me happy. I
Right.
think that's really it. I think people just think they have to like post it on Instagram, and that's not what makes me, that doesn't make me happy.
I
Like,
don't know that people even know what makes them happy.
right. But it's important for
I
them to
agree
Yeah.
100%.
I don't think they even,
Especially people in a couple.
right.
And this is something I realized coming out of my divorce and like getting on dating apps, and where it's like, what do you like to do? And I'm like, what do I like to do?
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
so you're so used to being a we.
Yeah.
What do
Yeah.
we like?
Right.
That's
What
a
do
whole
you like
different
to do,
world.
Allison? What's first thing that's like, if we ask you, like, what do you like to do? What's something that truly fills your cup? Like, and maybe no one knows this, but it's like, what is that?
I mean, I think like it's something easy for me to access. I run a lot. I do like put on a podcast and run. I love reading. I love like laying in my bed with the lighting perfect and
Mhm.
under the covers,
Mm.
getting like, if I'm into my book, I love reading the New York Times on my phone. Like, I'm very simple in like what brings me joy, but most often what's I find like is different about me is that I don't love to go to the big, I like to go to the big party, but it doesn't fill me up the way I think I see other people having so much fun. And I'm like, oh, I admire that they are, but I'm always ready to go. And so I don't know.
So for you in this
I don't know.
instance, yeah, totally. For you in this instance, I'd say start with like some small dinner parties with one or two people.
Those I love. Those I love.
So then
Allie's
add
down for
more.
it.
I'm down for a dinner
Especially
party.
if it's at her house.
I love it at my
Yeah.
house.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, invite people in, and then invite people in to like get deeper, because like the 6 core humans that I get to call my chosen family and the people that I bounce everything off of, I have created an intentional space around telling them. When I got out of the divorce, I said, you guys, all I want to do is focus on our friendship. Like, you mean so much to me.
Yeah.
I appreciate you so much. We don't say that enough to our girlfriends. We don't say that
True.
enough to our friends, because we're in couple mode, we're in single dating mode. But forget all that for a minute. That's just noise, because anybody who's going to be our love, our person, they're going to add value and they're going to like understand that. So it's really important to like create those friendships, deepen those friendships, but you have to say, like, otherwise no one knows. Like, you have to say, I want to have an intentional friendship here. I want to go deeper. What's the best way to do that? Is like, do you want to text more? Do you want to just get on the phone? Do you want to go for a run together? Do you want to just
Right.
go to IKEA? Like, what does being an intentional friend look like to you? And I will tell you, I can almost get emotional over it. Like, I cherish these people so deeply, and the fact that they are in it with me in this way, that I
Right.
literally don't need a freaking relationship. That anybody who comes into my life is like, they have to add that value that like warrants them coming in and taking space away from maybe a friend time that I can't wait to go hang out and do.
Yeah, yeah. No, that makes so much sense to me.
Yeah.
Date your friends, just date your friends, like for
Right.
real.
Right.
Tell them like, I want to have dinner with you. Like, I want to spend more time with you. I need to learn what like makes you tick. And I
Yeah.
really have a zest for that. That's like gets me jazzed.
And maybe too, like you're to your point, that fills you up, and then you can go to the event and show up amazing and, for an hour
Absolutely.
Yeah.
or 2 hours. How long were you said you were married 18 years, but you've been divorced too. How long at the end, like, were you transitioning out of that marriage so that you kind of were already in rehab mode, or what was happening?
Totally.
Mode.
You know,
Yeah.
another piece of me, like the about 6 months prior to asking for the divorce, I started therapy, and the first thing that I said to this therapist was, this may be really new for you, but I need you to help me get a divorce. And she was like,
Oh.
wait, hold on, this is just our intake thing, like let me.
Yeah.
I go, no, no, no. I've had talk therapy for years. I literally just need help. I want to be intentional. Um, Carrie and I actually read the Conscious Uncoupling book, which is a beautiful book, by the way. Highly recommend it. As long as both people, like, especially if you have kids and you want to have that amicable peace, I think really understanding that you're conscious uncoupling, it's much like conscious parenting. Again, it's just being very present in that space. But
Right.
it's probably, I mean, to be honest, it's a couple of years, right? Like we
Yeah.
all kind of know, like after time, you're like, oh man, we're just not on the same page anymore. And I wanted her to be I wanted her to be happy. I wanted me to be happy. But at the end of the day, I wanted our child, who is our biggest why from all of this, and like the greatest gift that we get from these relationships and lessons. And I really tried to do it the best that I possibly could. And I'm so grateful for the space we're in 2 years later. And we were very much in that space, 6 months even after. It's like, I think because we both said all we needed to say, we took responsibility. As you know, ownership is important to any kind of breakup or relationship
Sure.
dissolving. So it was definitely a very conscious decision. My dad passed away in 2020 suddenly. And in me is kind of that DNA shift. I saw him and my stepmom for 40 years, who I love desperately still. Like, I deeply love my stepmom. She knows we have a beautiful relationship 45 years later. And for their 41 years that they were married before my dad passed, he literally at 70 years old would look over and go, I get to like, that's my best friend that I get to love.
Oh, yeah.
And they were hot for each other. And I just
Yeah,
thinking to myself, I want that.
of
So
course.
that's probably truly when the shift started.
Yeah, that's
Because
fair.
you weren't feeling that, like,
Because I wasn't feeling that.
Yeah.
And I wanted it almost 18 years. Like, we should be in that sweet prime spot, right? Like, things should have been kind of worked through. And just from other couples that I know who are like 20 some odd years in, and they're just like in the zone now.
and I think it's easy to get in that space when you start dating someone when you're younger, because there's not an opportunity for emotional development for either of you to take place. You start dating in your 20s, get married, and
Yeah,
you're stuck in that place.
I mean,
Right.
before Carrie, you guys, I had an 8-year relationship. I have not been single since I was 24. You're right. You're exactly right.
Yeah. That's interesting. And so then you committed to filling your own cup full so that then you could show up. And then how do you now see the balance between saying yes so that you're opening your life up to new opportunities, new people, new podcasts, but you're not saying yes so much that it's like, I don't know, it drains you.
Yeah, I think it's, again, I kind of check in with myself on that day. It's like knowing, whoa, I have the capacity today to really give myself. I'm a true extrovert in that way, but through the last 2 years, I've probably been the most hermited extrovert I've ever been in my whole life, where the little things, like I just rather cook for myself, or I rather have a FaceTime with a friend while we both decide to cook and we're apart, or I'm enjoying, building community here. And there are people that, kind of naturally you gravitate towards and they fill your cup in a different way. And, or they're just playful. Like I'm finding the playful side to myself again. And it's like, let's not go to a bar. Let's like go play pickleball. Let's go like be stupid somewhere, or like,
Yeah.
it's like, it's just finding out those things about you that you really missed all these years. It's like, oh, and it takes time. It took 2 years for me, like with a lot of work, to just feel so happy. I bought a Vespa. Carrie said that
That's amazing.
I couldn't have a Vespa for 18 years. She said, no, Portland is just so wet, blah, blah. I'm like, I can enjoy it during the summer months and blah, blah. Nope. First thing I did after I got divorced, after I sold the house, got a Vespa. I ride it. I literally have like the
A
biggest
smile.
smile on my face when I ride. And people are like talking to me at the stop signs. Kids are rolling down their little
Oh my
windows and they're like, hi, I'm like, hi, so
Yeah,
it's about sparking joy for my life. It's really that. It's like, where is my joy today? And
right.
and then check in, like, do I have the capacity to add people to that today? Or am I just going to go fill my own cup and drive over to Sedona? I live in Phoenix. Or am I going to go for a little desert hike or sit under the stars? I mean, like, whatever it is, it's just,
Yeah,
there's
figuring out what it is and then doing it. I
exactly,
think
that's
that's
the thing.
part of it too, yeah.
Like I take myself out on dates. I go for a hike and then I take myself out to different brunch spots, because I think about, if I have a person one day that I really want to share these moments with, like I like figuring out, like, well, this place is really loud. I'm not going to be able to hear them, or this place
Mhm.
feels really lovely. So dating yourself is like totally an acceptable thing, at least in my book. Like
Yeah, and
You're taking notes for later.
manifesting too, right? Like,
manifesting
yeah.
100%.
Are you actively dating yet?
I am.
Okay.
Not on the apps. I don't know what is going on lately, but there are some beautiful humans that I've either been introduced to, or they're sliding into my DMs, and I give them an opportunity to like see if there's some energy there. I'm very cued
Give
in on,
them an opportunity to kind of wow you.
Yeah.
yeah, a little. I mean, a little bit. I mean, there's more of a,
Bitch.
it's more of a soul connection energy thing. Like I kind of know I can lean in, or it's just a no for me. If it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no kind of
I
thing.
love that. We say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Well, what would it mean? What would a hell yes look like?
Oh, I mean, it's just an energy thing. It's in the sense of like, are you willing? Have you done the work? One, like, have you gone to therapy? Do you like being outdoors? I love nature so much. It's like my church. Do you like road trips? I mean, we can all do the 5-star resorts. I'm down for that every now and then, but I also like a good road trip and the experiences that come to that. And like, again, having that space to have conversation and talk to people. Do you like playing cornhole? Do you like being, like, do you like to read? What kind of books, do you like podcasts? I met a few people and they're like, no, I don't. I go, well, okay, I have one. So, that's cool. But I mean, we don't have to fit all the way around. It's more of like, even if they have kids, like, I don't mind being a bonus mom. Like I'm down for that. I have the capacity to love other people's kids. I have one that I freaking cherish, but I love my dog as much as I could love someone's kids, if they're a piece of them in that sense. So I
Right.
just think it's really about, are they a yes person, or are they a half a glass Want.
Yeah,
Debbie Downer.
that sucks.
Totally.
But so you got off the apps, and that's something like we talk about that a lot. Like with the apps, they can be kind of almost like I don't know, like a buzzkill. It's like you're on there, you've said, and you before looked at it and been like, it's just like almost.
Well, no one is
Read
really
the end of the
reading.
results.
No one reads anything. No one reads. Like, I much just rather have a friend say, "Hey, I have a friend." I mean, I go on them for like a day or so, and then I almost get heart palpitations because I also feel really empathic about like swiping left on. Like, I'm sure you're very.
I know, like, it's like,
But, like,
oh, I'm
no,
sure you're a
I'm
lovely
sure-
person, but not for me.
I mean, it's
But
just
I'm gonna send him an apology.
energy. I just either.
Like,
I
I
think
have no idea.
I mean, I don't know about you girls. I mean, you know, it's like I'm open to long distance. I'm totally cool with that because I like to travel and I like to have experiences. So I'm okay with that too. Plus, as you can see, I like talking. So it's not,
How do you? So do you split your time? Are you in Phoenix full time?
yeah, Phoenix full
I thought you
time.
lived in Portland. No.
We lived there for 11 years, moved down
Okay.
after my dad passed away, actually, to be closer to my stepmom. So, and friends.
Okay.
We
Yeah.
met
So
here,
you're new
actually.
in Arizona.
Yeah, we're in central Phoenix, right in the heart of it.
How did you meet our friend Ari?
Oh, Ari slid into my DMs because she was looking
Okay.
for new friends when she decided to
Yeah.
move from Atlanta to Phoenix. And she's like, I'm from Phoenix. I just haven't been there in 22
Yeah.
years. And so we met, and the way that our first friend date was soul, like a sound bath. I said,
Oh.
well, I know you're moving this weekend, so maybe you could use a sound bath and then want to go to ramen afterwards. And that's what we did. And
That's
we
so
just-
fun.
it was really cool. So I give her props because she did kind of what I do. It's like you just go on to like boycott the gay bar, and she kind of looked through people and she was like, well, let me see. She was probably just looking to see who looked normal, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
totally, totally.
I was like, okay, I guess I look normal enough. And so yeah, and then I heard her voice, you guys, and I had listened to her double feet, like because I'd been listening to you
Oh,
guys for a
yeah.
bit. And I was like, were you on a podcast like last November? This was obviously about a year and a half ago. And she's like, yeah. And I go,
Yeah.
House of Sinclair. I get it. I now.
Oh, that's
it's all
hilarious.
registering.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Just such a unique voice.
He does,
does.
yeah.
That say more about, because I think that all the time. Like, I think that is such a cool way to meet someone, because dating apps, that's not real. Like, that's silly. Like Instagram, I can really tell what you're about. I can see you actually went on the hike. I can
That's
see
right.
what books are
You
reading.
know,
I
and
can
that's why,
see-
like, whenever I've been on the apps, my first question is usually, or not
Let me
first
check out-
question,
Yeah. Are you on Instagram?
oh,
Yeah,
if you have social media,
right.
like, to me, I'm like, that gives like a good,
Totally. You can see what
view.
kind of food they like. Like, there's so much about someone
yeah.
in their socials.
Yeah. I mean, yes, all of that. But then there's also, you have to take it with a grain of salt. Like you have to get to
Yeah.
know them a little bit to see if things align, to see
Right.
if things match up,
Absolutely.
right?
It's
Yeah.
true, because chemistry, there's no, it's so,
It's there or it's
I really
not.
think
Yeah,
that
it's-
is like one of the reasons why it took me so long to realize that I was gay is like, it is rare that I have chemistry with someone, like
Yeah.
very
It-
rare.
It's a soul connection that you're really looking for, and they are rare. And that's why it's really important when you do feel that, whether it's a platonic soul connection or a romantic soul connection, to ask those questions. I mean, more often than not, it's such a good gut feeling. And then I ask them to go on the Pattern app, if you're familiar with the Pattern app.
no, tell
Which is
us.
it's an astrology app, and it
So
talks
it's
about
like
your
co-star.
it is a little bit, but it talks more about the bonds, and like you can put friendship or romantic and how they show up. More often than not, I've been so right. And it's so cool to like be validated in that way. Like, I told you we were connected. And and at that point, you're just happy to have them in your life because you realize they're a soul connection.
Wait a
and it's-
minute, it's called, so you meet someone and then they do the app and you do the app test?
Yeah, like I just tell them, hey, if you'd like to download this app, then find
If you
me
guys
at
could go out with
Okay,
me.
well, no, like,
download the app.
it is very similar to the co-star app, which I
Yeah.
have. and I'm connected with like a few of my friends on there. And it like literally it breaks down your like astrological stuff.
Yeah,
And it
over how it
says like where
overlaps.
you guys kind of match on life.
How have I
and
never heard of this?
I don't know. You want to be friends with me on CoStar?
Yeah.
Or you guys, I'm on CoStar also, so we could be friends on there.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, wait, is it like your friends on there and then are you messaging each other?
No,
It's just like,
it's just kind of like fun. Like
it's just kind of like this thing.
I met someone a few months ago who like that was one of her first questions if I had it. And I'm like, I think she was using it to gauge whether or not we would be good friends or not.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, see, I've got like Christine
Yeah.
and Meredith.
Does everybody
Boya.
match? Like if we're all on there, do you automatically match? Or is it like not necessarily?
No, I think you have to follow people.
No,
right?
yeah, you have to follow whoever you're leaning into, whether it's your friends or not. But it will tell you really like how we show up for each other within where our astrology. I mean, you have to know what time you're born. There's a lot of people who don't know what time they're born. So you have to try to like find a family member. Like, was I born in the evening or the morning?
Is that on your birth
Yeah.
certificate? I think
Yeah.
it is. You
Not
have
every,
it-
not every state does that.
Oh.
And,
Okay, 'cause I feel like
and
mine
in Canada, it doesn't do it at all.
Are you from Canada?
Nope, but I have friends and
You're familiar with the country?
Yeah.
I've worked up there a lot. So I mean, but I do have friends up there who we talk about that.
Yeah.
Have you had, would you say in Arizona, have you had some dates where you left the date and you're like, that was like magical, easy, like, no, okay, it's hard,
Like, I
right?
wouldn't know.
Yeah.
It's easier for me actually when it's not so in person. I think I get really like protective of my space here, which is probably why I'm like more open to the long distance. But I had the worst first date
Oh,
ever.
no. Okay,
Do
tell
tell.
us. Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, we all know that not everybody should be on an app at all for dating, right? Like
Yeah.
literally in their life is crumbling around them and they should there's zero reason why should be on an app at the moment.
Of course.
This one gal, she's like, she reaches out to me and she's like, hey, you're super cute, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, thanks. Hey, we live close. I like, where do you live? All that kind of stuff. So we meet at this place, which I love, like this little outdoor food place. And it has a beautiful patio for Arizona. We have lots of like great patios. She shows up. I swear to God, this woman was like gaunt. She looked like she was mourning her relationship, which she was for like the last 3 weeks. Like she said she was kind of going through a breakup. No, like she needed her best friend. She needed her parent. She needed like
Dang,
comfort.
did you say like what's
No,
up?
so I said, okay, look, this obviously is not going to be a first date. Let's just get this. It sounds like you need a friend tonight. And that's really like, she cried. Her wife of 4 years, they have a 4-year-old together, a cop met a gal in a gym, a 22-year-old girl in a gym, and left her for that girl.
The number of times that I hear this story on repeat,
It's
is fucking mind blowing.
It's baffling. Okay, so first of all, let's break this down. You should not be on an app. And I told her, I said, please dump yourself off the app. You are not fit for anybody at the moment. And if you need a friend, going forward, whatever, if you need a ear, you can call me. But I just felt really horrible for her at that moment, but it was just a laughable.
Like searching
I was going to say, I think it
anything.
is like a coping mechanism for people. Like
Yeah.
they want to feel good, and that feels like an easy way in the palm of your hand to feel good and to get like a little bit of
To me,
validation.
that would make me lonelier. Like I'm sitting here with this person.
But
and
it's
I'm
like you do connect, and then you do
Allison, so
conversation.
ridiculous.
Like I'd say it has like highs and lows to it,
Yeah.
like you're feeling good because you're getting matches. You are finally chatting with people and kind of like taking your mind off of stuff, talking about your fucking favorite color, and then it does hit you that like, oh wait, like
I'm sitting here with a stranger.
Yeah, like this is real. So
that to me, like for myself, that would be dark as hell.
yeah, but people don't realize
They don't.
They
Like
don't.
I would be
like
like,
grasping at straws.
they're
at that
grasping
time.
at
I mean,
straws.
she was lucky I was just a nice person at that
know.
moment, because I could have just been like, yeah, peace out. But I was
Yeah,
like,
Yeah, been really
let's have this-
mean and yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, let's have dinner. Like, let's grab burgers. Let's just eat and hang
You
out.
need a burger.
Yeah. She treated me, thank God. Like, at least I got
Oh, yeah, at least you got
but-
dinner.
So that's why I just can't do the apps. Like I have this real sense of self, and also I believe in the universe really deeply at this point. And honestly, whatever's for me is not going to pass me by. Like they're just going to keep showing up, and they're going to be a part of my life. They're going to make sure that I know that what they want from me in that sense. And so either I'll shoot my shot and I'm okay with, like I said,
Yeah, no.
I'm not for everybody, and I'm great with that. Like I know I'm for somebody out there, and when that person is right, it's going to be freaking awesome.
Yeah, that's a great attitude to have, because when you bring that energy, it's so much more compelling than the other. Like, I
Well,
think
yeah.
that's, yeah, people like that. It feels so, I say this to my kids, like when I meet their friends that are very confident in who they are, like they're very happy, confident kids, they're so easy to talk to because
Mhm.
they are just walk up and like, hey, Allie, like going, shooting the shit with me. And I find this with my friends too, like people that are very comfortable with who they are.
Yeah.
I can have these great conversations with, but if I sense in you that you're not, it like puts me in a awkward place. So it is like to show up like that, you're going to have way more opportunities because people you want to be with that.
You're drawing people
You're
in.
drawing people in.
Completely. And the other part of that is like you have to know yourself enough to know that, is this cadence okay for me? Like, are they that reciprocity, that word, right? That reciprocal vibe. And if they're not, then
That's
I'm
okay.
okay. Yeah, I'm okay to just say, hey, it really feels like not wrong person, wrong place, or any bullshit like that. But look, it really feels like we connect on a really cool level. I kind of feel like you're just, we're just not vibing in that sense of like being each other's person. But, this is what I'm thinking. What do you think? And usually they're like, yeah, let's stay friends or whatever. And it either just peters out, which is totally fine too, because everybody needs to have their own own life and make their choices based on what's really best for them.
Yeah. We have like a litmus, or we've talked about this before, it's been a long time, but like the litmus test of how somebody, maybe why do I see them as a friend, or why do I see them as maybe could be more? And for me, it's like kissing someone feels very, like, I don't want, my mouth is like so personal to me. I don't want
My mouth is done, yeah.
my mouth on really.
Oh my God.
So I'm like, that for me is like, and remember we had someone else tell us theirs that was more intimate, but mine is kissing. Like if I'm sitting there with someone and I'm like, I could kiss them,
Yeah.
then it's like it's easier to open up and feel like could be romantic. I don't know. What's yours?
I would say it's kind of similar.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I'm big on teeth too. Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
feel
yeah.
Like, am I attracted to your teeth? That sounds weird. Oh, well, and let me tell you a teeth story real quick, because my kids have been going to the orthodontist like a lot
Yeah.
lately, and I never had braces.
I didn't either.
Okay.
Did I?
And-
Yeah. Well, we all have straight teeth.
See? And I'm like telling the kids, I'm like, let's not get too like upset that you might have to have braces, because I didn't have them.
Yeah.
And I was like, but my bottom teeth are like a little crooked. And so I showed them, and my daughter went, oh, like, they're not like,
Oh, it's kind of
like I was like
an
an
character.
ogre or something. And I'm like, Jesus. And then I've been like self-conscious now. I'm like, God, do my bottom teeth show when I talk?
No,
And they're not even bad.
they're not bad at all. You have perfectly straight teeth. Even with braces end up with crooked teeth when they.
I know.
they get
And
moved.
I'm like, I never had them.
No, I didn't either. Because they said I didn't need them. My dentist told the kids that they don't need them, but I still want them to get them
Oh, really?
because they're not like ideal,
Yeah,
but they're like, they don't need them.
I know.
But
and,
I'm like, I
and,
don't
and their
think
whole
they
thing
use
was
much.
once like with Kaylin, when she loses these like top two molars, they were like, it's gonna, make room, and then we'll see about braces. And I'm just like, I feel like you just want to put braces on my child for your paycheck.
My child has braces right now, but again,
Yeah.
I didn't give birth to her, but my brothers both had braces. I just
Yeah,
got,
my sister
I
had
just got
braces.
lucky.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, you get lucky or not.
I know. I feel
Sure.
really lucky to have never had to deal with that for sure.
I
So
know, it's true.
it's a
What's
thing.
your thing, Michelle? What do you look for when you're sitting there? Do you know right away if it could be romantic, and then what are you looking for? What happens?
For me, I'm such a demisexual. So yeah, I have to have the
I
emotional
don't, tell me
connection.
what that means.
Yeah, it means that in order for me to be physical or want to be physical with somebody, I have to have like a really deep emotional connection with them. Like, so
Ooh, I get that.
Yeah.
yeah. So for me, so if I do have that, then I'm more likely to want to kiss them
You're
because
going like deep and emotional, and we're over here talking about physical
We're talking about teeth.
appearance, like assholes.
no, you're not.
I'm not
I mean,
saying everyone has to have perfect teeth. I obviously don't, based on how my daughter reacted to my bottom teeth. Jesus Christ. But I 100% like, yes, that aspect, same. Like there needs to be, I need to know you. I've literally said this to someone before who was coming on really strong. And I was like, I want to know you
Before this.
before this is
yeah.
happening.
But you would know in before that if you could like kiss them, or like, do you feel a sense of like, I wish I could hold their hand while we're walking in?
Yeah.
Or do you feel kind of like, I mean, I think about like my girls trip I just went on. The women that I hang out with are beautiful women, but I'm not attracted to
Right.
any of them.
And for me, I think I need a mutual attraction to know that like I have the go ahead
Yeah.
too. Like,
yeah, you want that consent. There's nothing
yes.
sexier than like, can I have a kiss? Knowing the answer
Oh,
is yes.
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Like, you know, asking permission and then knowing the answer
and
before that.
right. And I think that's a big part too, like coming out later. Like I know that it kind of gets awkward telling your straight friends, like, oh, are they going to think like the whole time I was crushing on them and I just never said
I know,
anything?
right?
But reality is like, I need that mutual connection. Like, so I've never looked at my friends that way because there was never that mutual connection happening.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it's hard to describe to people. Like sometimes I love when the lesbian community, like they'll ask you, like your buds, you know, you're at a bar. So do you like boobs or butts or
Yeah.
whatever? Like just because I present mask, I am soft mask, or the new title, like golden retriever mask, which I guess is like super hot right now. Like,
I've never heard of this.
yeah, so
it is
Okay.
very me.
energy.
Like I'm just happy seeing people, my tail's wagging, you know, I'm just
Yeah.
excited. You know what I mean? It's like everything you love about a golden retriever in a human form, I guess. But and I kind of feel sometimes like I'm like a cartoon character, just with my, you know, my hair, like a little Poindextery area. But you know, it's all good. It's like, but when you're really, for me, I do go super deep. So I kick people. So people almost either are repelled by my intentionality.
Your
I'm so,
curiosity and
and
yeah.
all my curiosity and the fact that I just like I like want to know that person. Like, but I've always been a really curious human being, which is probably why I love the podcast, because I get to talk to people, and why I used to be fascinated by how Oprah interviewed people, because she had that desire and that natural curiosity. And so I kind of get attracted to people with this, which is why the reciprocal piece is super important. And I'm talking to my single friends and they're like, oh my God, I just had the best conversation with someone. And I'm like, so happy for my friend at that moment, because there's so many not so connected, beautiful, you know, like conversations, because the lesbian community is filled with trauma. Let's just be real.
Right.
Everyone, and trending right now is the attachments, and whether you're avoidant, whether you're anxious, avoidant and anxious piece, and how they blend and are beautiful back and forth, or secure attachment or disassociative. I mean, there's like all these different attachment pieces to it. And it's so fascinating that I get really into when someone knows how they show up, or like when they first, like, oh my God, okay, just so you know, I'm a little avoidant. I'm like, okay, how does that show up for you? Like, I can ask questions about that. I can get to know them, so that not to use it against them, but to literally understand them at like
Right. Like, yeah,
level.
knowing that they're avoidant allows you to communicate better with them, because
Right, like, okay, I'm not gonna text you a ton. I'm gonna give a
Right.
lot of space and allow them to come to me. And then if they're anxious, like I have a couple of friends who are my soul, some of my soul friends are very anxious attachment. So I've gotten a chance to really learn like around that and ask questions in the sense of, okay, what makes you anxious? And I do everything I can in that space to like give this beautiful, quiet, gentle place for them to land if they want to connect, if they want to like actually talk with me. So, and I do ask, like I tell them, I'm very blunt, you know, when
I'm the same.
I just have to
Be in
be. It's
trouble sometimes.
No, I think it's a beautiful aspect. I think, God, please, I need clarity. I will show up secure attached unless there's a gray zone. If I'm just in this this
Yeah,
gray wave of like bleh, if I don't like understand what's going on, that is the only time that I get anxious.
yeah,
Right.
I agree.
And the way it shows up for me is like, I just am like, so,
What's
you know,
happening?
What's happening?
feels
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah,
And then do you find yourself kind of pulling away?
You know, it's more of like, yeah, you just simply just are quiet then. I just don't have, like, where am I to go now? Like,
Right.
not telling me kind of where we're at. Like, hey, do you want a second date? Or hey, do you want to meet someplace fun? Or hey, you know, blah, blah, blah. You want to get on a virtual date, you know, whatever that looks like. It's like, so it's very interesting. I don't take it personal. People can dig you, you can talk to them and have an amazing first weekend together and hang out. And then 10 days later, they can tell you, I've had a
no,
shift. I've just like, and
Yeah.
it's their own avoid, it's their own stuff. It literally had, I mean, they tell me like, it literally had nothing to do with me in that space. So it's okay. Thank you
And it's
for,
so hard. I think that's such an important thing to tell our people because it's like, it is not personal. Like they went out with you. Obviously, they liked what they saw. They liked the initial date. It's like you can't take it personally and you have to then continue to put yourself out there because
you
it
do,
is
you have,
them really, not you.
you do,
You're
you have,
getting ready to
if you,
go.
yeah, if the intentional piece is to really find a relationship, you got to really say to yourself, do I really want a relationship right now? Or do I just need
on
people, you know,
attention.
yeah, if I just want to like date to try people on for a little bit, well, I'm not that person. I'm not. Like, I'm okay to say I'm looking for my person and I'm just,
Oh, there's
you know what
something
I
so
mean?
confident and cool about that.
Yeah,
Like, I don't like, I feel like I would appreciate that. You don't hear people say that really.
no,
No, I've been told quite a bit lately, like, you're just not like other people. I'm like, yeah, and I'm good with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
right. Like you're not for everyone.
Right. And when
Like,
people do say though, like, I'm not looking for anything, or like, I'm not, you know, they might like you go out on a few dates and then they're like, yeah, I just don't really want to be in a relationship. And the truth is, it's like, I just don't always buy it. It's like, you
no,
don't,
want to be in a relationship with you.
yeah, or it's like,
Exactly.
looking at the end of the day for connection. It's not like we're not
Yeah.
wired to want that.
I think people
So-
find that to be like a nice way to let someone down, but really it's just like a little white lie.
Well, you
know?
guys are in Atlanta. It's like, bless your heart, right? It's
Yeah,
like,
right.
it's like, I
Exactly.
learned that years ago.
Might as
during
well just say
trade shows.
bless your heart.
And you may think like, I want to say this because I've got to self-protect that I'm not looking for anything because what if you don't like me?
Yeah.
So I need to pretend that I'm not really looking. But the truth is that we all want connection.
Well, the other whole piece of it is they don't tell you that they want to be ethically non-monogamous, right? Like I'm an OG, like I'm not like I love my pan friends. I love my poly friends. Like I wholeheartedly love that whole community and how deeply they communicate and how well they communicate because it's all about communication at the end of the day. But I'm a monogamous human being. I just know myself. So I need to ask, like finding out what questions are really important for you to understand day one, like out of the gate. And I have like 5 or 6 questions
Give us a
now.
couple of them.
Okay, like, so I'm a part of Club of Lilies. And so I've learned with the later in lifers, like when they want to hang out and date you, they might have that gay panic piece around you because you've been out for so long and they just want to be seen as gay. And so there's like questions. Well, around that is like, are you divorced?
Oh, yeah.
Let's get real here. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to be your first, but like, let's at least figure out what's healthy.
Available, right.
Are you living at home with your spouse? If you are, do you have a separate room? Like there's questions. Have you had the discussion? Like, are you getting
Are women
separated?
really out there while they're still sleeping with their husbands at home?
they're not sleeping necessarily with their husbands at home, but they are at home with their husbands. And so,
Yeah.
but are they in an open marriage now?
Yeah.
Like, have they taken do their kids, if they have kids, do they have kids that know about, are they living in secret? Because guess what? I'm not going back in the closet. Like, there's
No,
no part of me that needs to be a secret in anyone's life.
no,
I have no desire. I'm like,
no.
I will bring you into my family. I will tell the world that I want, this is my person, and
Yeah.
I deserve the
You
best.
expect them to do the same.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
the other parts are like, do you know your attachment? Do you go to therapy? So, I mean, there's just questions that are like, my friends and I like, oh, let's add that now to
Let's
the
add another
Yeah.
question.
But do
Yeah.
you have to go to therapy? Like, could you have gone? Like, I've gone, but I don't regularly go to therapy.
But are you in a growth mindset then? If you're in a
Yeah.
growth
Yeah.
mindset, then that's the yes. Then that's the one
Okay.
I'm looking for.
Right.
Yeah, and I think it's also like you're saying, you don't go on a regular basis, but you have been
Yes,
and went on a consistent
Mhm.
basis for a time.
yes.
And I think that says a lot, because I did, I think, a year straight.
Yeah.
And
Which is awesome.
yeah, like, but now I only do it like every couple months or so. Like I said, I might rely on a podcast more.
And to ask about the attachment style, that this is something that I came to recently, is that in therapy, is that I'm in a period of anxious attachment. And I was saying to my therapist, I'm anxiously attached. Like, I've read everything about anxious attachment. That's me. And she's like, but you're not an anxious attacher. You're
Right.
securely attached for a very long time. Like, what else is going on? Let's dig into this.
Yeah.
So it's
That's
like,
it.
it doesn't mean that you've got this label and
Yeah, I hate
You're
that
this-
part.
yeah,
Where it's like,
it's
what is, like, to answer that, like, what your attachment style is,
yeah.
what's my situation? What's the scenario
Yeah,
that's
what's the
happening?
scenario right
Well,
now?
and you show up different with different energy, right? Like, you may be showing up anxious at the moment because there may be some of that gray area that you're just needing clarity on right now. So it's just you are showing up anxious because you're just anxious, and that's okay. That's like a human thing, right? Just like being avoidant, but it's more about do you understand where you typically fall so that I know how to hold space for that. It's more about that for me than, because I have friends and I have a gal that I'm kind of seeing at the moment, or just like the beginning phases of just getting to know. But she's like, I've been avoidant, blah, blah. She's super avoidant with other people. She's not avoidant with me because I've taken the time to learn how to give so much space because I'm doing my life, that
Yeah.
she naturally gravitates to want to talk to me. And then we have really fun texting. And then I'm like, okay, peace out. Go hang with the kids. Like, I'll see you later.
Yeah.
Like, enjoy.
Yeah,
Like,
no
whatever.
pressure.
Say hi whenever. Like, that's literally
Yeah.
my favorite thing to say. Text, say hi whenever, like whatever that is. But you also, in order to push that needle a little bit, you have to ask those questions like, hey, do you think we could jump on a FaceTime call this week? Like, do you want to have a virtual date with me? What does that look like?
Right.
And it's just fun. I'm just trying to make it fun too, because I mean, we have this one precious life that we're all living in this moment. We've all connected for a reason. I'll be here until my last breath. Then I go back up into the ether and I decide whether or not I want to come back and have another Earth experience, or if I'm ready to jump ship and like hightail it out to another solar system. I'm a big believer in that we are soul, that we we're a soulful person living in this human experience. So spirituality is really important to me, and it's okay if you're not super woo woo, but
I'm
can
getting
you
more woo-woo as time goes on, not gonna lie.
True.
And just peace in it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like the universe is working for you.
yeah,
You
that's
know?
definitely true.
That's
We're
it.
on the right path.
Yeah, this didn't happen to you. This is happening for you. I'm a big Abraham Hicks lover. And she said, remember we were talking about our cup being full, right? And that soul cup and filling that up. Well, one thing that you say that Abraham Hicks taught me, and I got to see her live recently, and I got to go on stage, which was
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow.
mind blowing.
Yeah.
Yes, freaking awesome. And she just says, when you find something that you really love, you say, more of that, please. More
Oh,
of that,
okay.
please.
Yeah.
And it's so beautiful. Like, if you're having a sweet moment with your kid, if you're on a sweet date and you get done with that, you're like, I want more of those. I want more of these sweet moments in my life. I want more things that make me laugh. I want more things that fill me up from the inside out. I mean, because it's a very short world, and it's like, what else are you gonna do with it?
And it is like to your point too, it's the journey. I mean, it sounds so cheesy, but it's like that is the life. I mean, it's not the destination of I'm finally going to do this when I move into the new space or when I do, it's like, this is it. It's these little moments that's what you have. So more of this, please.
More of this, please. It's just
Yeah,
the best way to do it.
I agree. I think that's a good place to end.
Yeah.
Michelle, thank you for coming on.
My
You plug
pleasure.
your
Thanks.
podcast real
Yeah,
quick. What's the name of
plug
it?
your pod.
Live Out Loud podcast with River and Michelle.
Yeah,
Awesome. Very cool.
I'm a fan.
I really appreciate that. I'm glad you heard one of our episodes recently, and yeah, it's a good one. I'm very proud of it. We've had guests like the lesbian curiosity coach Samantha Fox,
Yeah.
other life coaches. Angela, one of my spiritual guides and gurus, has been on it. We get really woo woo, and then we also go deep into therapy and breaking down human design and all the things. So it's a pretty fun space to be in.
That's amazing. Well, I'm gonna keep listening.
Yay. Well,
All
as
right.
you know, I'm a fan of you guys, so it's great to be here and also get to spend some time with you.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you.
See you later.
Bye.
Want to support the Lesbian Chronicles podcast? Rate us and write a review on Apple Podcast or Spotify.
We love listener feedback. If you'd like to share your story, email us at melissaandallie@gmail.com. That's Melissa, MELISA, and Allie, ALLI @gmail.com. Or follow us on Instagram at Lesbian Chronicles.